Yo, these NBA playoffs have been the greatest NBA playoffs that I've literally seen. But most of all, y'all probably like, yo, who is this dude on my screen talking crazy if you don't know already? What's up, y'all? I'm Jamiersen Green. I'm a host for the NBA, host for Nike, host for Jordan, as well as a host for the Detroit Pistons. But most of all, I'm just an NBA guy. I've done the creator cast for the NBA where we do an alternate stream. We did one for the Los Angeles Lakers and OKC way like a few months ago, doing airtime episodes, Nike NBA airtime. I also been able to interview some of our favorite NBA players. I mean, I'm talking like Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jalen Brunson, Jason Tatum. The list goes on, and we'll probably get into that more as we talk about more NBA things throughout, this channel. And most of all, y'all, I ain't got a name for this show yet. We'll get there. I'm not really worried about finding a name for a show because at some point it'll just come to me and it'll be named. I don't know what the setup gonna look like, none of that. But look, let's just get straight into it. This Knicks Indiana series, hey yo, let's feeding families. For real. I thought the way the series was gonna go, it was gonna be Knicks in 6. But I thought it would be Knicks win the first 2, Indiana gets game 3, Knicks win game 4, Indiana gets game 5. So there's 3-2, and then Knicks win game 6. That's how it's been. I mean, most of the Knicks' playoff anyway. When they played the Pistons, it was the same way. 4-2, they won in 6. Boston, 4-2, they won in 6. Boston had that crazy miracle game after JT blew his entire Achilles out. But I felt that this was going to be the same way for this series. And I'm really surprised that it's going the way it's going. Like, I didn't expect to maybe steal one. All right, maybe the Pacers would have stole one. I didn't think that they were going to steal 2 in the Garden. But also, like, they low-key nicked the Knicks. Like, how the Knicks did the Celtics and coming back from 20 down twice. Indiana came back from a deficit in game 1, nearly impossible. We're gonna talk about that. And then in game 2, the deficit wasn't as crazy, but still, like, they weren't expected to win just how the Knicks weren't expected to win against Boston, and they're finding crazy ways to win. Game 1, yo, the pace that they both came out with was crazy. Like, we knew Indiana played fast. They're like 2nd or 3rd in pace this year. Possessions, they're gonna get the ball out quick. The Knicks sometimes are a little more methodical, more slow. Jalen Brunson's bringing the ball up, picking and choosing. I feel like sometimes he's picking and choosing his spots first before he's trying to swing it around and get it around all the time, which is not a bad thing because he's the Kobe of that Knicks team. But I was surprised that the Knicks kept up with the Pacers' pace for that basically the entire game. It was like an Olympic race to me. Like, everybody lined up, you're doing a 100-meter dash, but you're doing that for 48 minutes. The Pacers came out crazy. They came out 11. I think they started 11 for 11. But then the Knicks, right back at them, started like 8 for 9. Like I said, I didn't think they were going to keep up with that at all. But they did. And I don't even think it really came back to bite them in the end. I think what came back to bite the Knicks, maybe just a loss of focus. But also, it's luck. What happened in that 4th quarter was luck. Because personally, I thought the game was over. When Jalen Brunson went out with 5 fouls, and OG Anunoby turned into prime Kobe Bryant with Suni Lee in the stands for like 5 minutes. Son, literally they gave him the ball and let him go to work. He hit a 3, he hit a step back 3, then he hit Halliburton in the post. They threw it down to him. He grabbed that joint, pulled it through his arms, did a Euro step into the lane. I'm like, yo, this game is over. There's no way the Knicks go on a run without Jalen Brunson on the court. And then he gets back on and they lose this lead. Like, I literally almost changed the channel because I thought it was over. But the crazy part about these playoffs though, no lead has been safe. Not one lead has been safe this entire playoffs. We've seen multiple 20-point comebacks by the Knicks and by the Pacers. I don't know. I guess I just thought it was gonna be over, but against my better judgment. So we get into those last 5 minutes. And yo, Aaron Nesmith, pay that man. I don't know what his contract is right now. Get that man some more money. But I don't know how he did that, because you know what insane amount of focus you gotta have to hit 5 threes in a row? I personally think he blacked out. As somebody who's hooped, not on the NBA level, I played on the JUCO level, but as somebody who's hooped, he had to black out. Like, that's an outer body experience where you're just totally just letting the ball go and letting it fly. But he was busting that joint, yo. I was like, and each time I was like, yo, there's no way. There's no way. And I'm in my group chat like, there's no way that they're about to win this game. And then before you know it, they're down by 2. Halliburton's bringing the ball to the court, doing his thing, chop chop, gets into the lane. Now at this point, I think he's gonna throw the floater up, above Mitch. But Bridges tips the ball. Everybody thought that he traveled. Bridges tips the ball. Halliburton is why? That's crazy. To think like, he tipped the ball, let me run back to the 3-point line. Son, that was at least 10 feet of him running back to the 3-point line to get that shot out. Got it off, back of the rim, straight in the air. That ball felt like the Kawhi moment where Kawhi shot that shot and the ball felt like it was bouncing around the rim forever. As soon as that ball went in the air, I was like, oh no, that ball about to go in. Straight through. I screamed in my house so loud. I promised my neighbors. I promised I was about to get evicted. I was so scared, but I screamed dumb loud, yo. And it ended up being a 2, but at that moment, I'm like, Indiana's probably gonna win this game. You don't come back and get that much momentum and then end up losing that game. And in the overtime, they did. I mean, the Knicks fought back. The Knicks were up in overtime. But I just feel like when you have that amount of confidence in the game, you're going to figure out, you don't want to lose that game. You're going to figure out what is it going to take for us to win that game. And the Pacers figured it out. I feel like the Knicks just, unfortunately, sold. They sold that game. And I'm a Brunson fan. I'm not necessarily a Knicks fan, but I'm a big Brunson fan. And I was really surprised that they didn't close that game out. There were 2 huge challenges that allowed Indiana to win that game. Number 1, Pascal Siakam and OG. When Pascal Siakam and OG went up for that loose ball and they called the foul on Pascal Siakam, and everybody was like, you need to review it. And they did. That was one huge turning point because without that, New York gets the ball back. And then Halliburton, I believe that was at the time that Halliburton ran down the court to get that shot. That's pivotal because if the Knicks get the ball back and they foul, then there's more of a chance for them to make free throws. Even though OG and Cat sold on 2 free throws at the end of that game, which allowed Indiana to get that challenge being successful mattered. But then also, if they would have lost that challenge and it would have still went to overtime, which it probably wouldn't have, honestly, because the score would have been too high, they wouldn't be able to challenge the play where Nembhard tipped the ball into Jalen Brunson's hands and it went out of bounds, and then it won Indiana the game in overtime. Those plays were huge. And I just feel like, New York wasted 80 points. They wasted 80 points between Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. And that's a game you gotta win because you don't want to give Indiana any kind of confidence. I think we've seen that all playoffs. Number 1, people calling Tyrese Halliburton overrated. He got a problem with that. Huge problem about people calling him overrated. Number 2, counting him out against the Bucks. Killed the Bucks. Counted him out against the Cavaliers. Beat them twice in their home court. Got him out of there. Nice little gentleman sweep. Same thing with the Knicks. I mean, people were at him about, I'm a Detroit fan, so people were at him about the Detroit series. Oh, we don't think that they can really beat Detroit. Everybody knew they were going to win, but they were doubting them. And the same thing against Boston. Boston is going to wash the Knicks. Even me, I'm like, they're going to beat them in 5. It's good, but whoever wins this first round is going to end up getting smacked by Boston. Wrong. New York runs Boston off the court, packs them up, get them up out of here, rolled up the Celtics pack. So I feel like for New York to get New York nicked against the Pacers in game 1, I just wasn't expecting it. And I wasn't ready for it. But you can't give Indiana any life because then you see what happens in game 2. They got all the confidence in the world coming into game 2. And then game 2 was crazy too. But I feel like game 2 started off and the Knicks, the pace was matching the Knicks. I feel like it was more so Knicks pacing, the way they want to run, slowing the ball down, getting into this, they don't run too many sets, but get into their pick and rolls, make sure Indiana's not getting off running and doing high quality shots. Yeah, Indiana started 11 for 4 and Pascal Siakam was out there dogging. Son was out there. Pascal Siakam thought he was back in the Raptors or something, because that was crazy. That was crazy the way he was dogging Cat and OG as well. And Nembhard started off well as well. But I feel like the Knicks had it under control. But the thing that worried me when we got to halftime was that they were only up by 3, and Halliburton only had 0 points. So for another team's best player to have 0 points and only be up by 3, the opposing team that's losing is going to the locker room like, yo, all we gotta do is figure out how to get him going, and we're gonna win the game. And I feel like it took them a little while in the third quarter to figure it out, but they did, Joe. They did. And I had to write the sequence down because it was a crazy sequence of Halliburton events where I was like, this game is turning around. The first one was, look, my timer. My bad, y'all. That timer wasn't supposed to be loud. It was supposed to. All right, we're gonna keep going. So I literally wrote it down. These were the plays that really, I feel like Halliburton got into a groove. He hit a wide open layup. Then he went off a pick and roll, got a dunk. Not too long after that, he's in the corner, wide open three, bad rotation by the Knicks. Knocks down the three. Goes crazy, knocks it down. At that point, he's comfortable. He is mad comfortable. Now, he gets the ball and he comes off the screen and gets ISO'd on Cat. Now he's in, out, tween, step back, getting ready. He comfortable. He's sizing him up. Step back, three, bang. I'm like, ah! But I can never count the Knicks out because I've seen it time and time again this postseason is that when things get ugly or things get bad or things get out of control, Jalen Brunson is always there to kind of correct it. And I think part of it is to the Knicks' detriment in the sense of like the ball goes in his hands so much that other people get out of flow. But he's also the most unstoppable player on the court. He's literally been the like, everybody, yo, okay, bet this person can stop JB. Okay, yo, well, we got the Celtics. They got 4 people to put on. They got Pritchard. They got White. They got Drew Holiday. They got Jaylen Brown. Then even with the Pacers, they got Nembhard. They got Neesmith. They got all these. They got McConnell. They got all these players that you can put on JB and stop him. But he's unstoppable. He's been the calming presence for the Knicks. And once again, in game 2, when things started to get out of hand, you get a JB 3. You get a JB bump, and 1 layup. You get a JB come through, hezzy, pull up 3. And he's always evening out the flow for that Knicks team. And he did that. He did that this game. But I felt like it was too late. It was too late because Indiana was already, once again, in their confidence back that they were going to win that game. And I feel like the difference sometimes between the Knicks and the Pacers is that all the time I feel like Indy's scoring in the clutch is by committee most of the time. Tyrese is going to do his thing, but he's also going to move the ball. And I feel like a lot of times the Knicks clutch is either by Cat or JB or them both. But if you look at the end of game 2, it was by committee. Tyrese Halliburton hits a 3. Then Aaron Neesmith goes on the elevator screen from the other side to the corner where the inbounder is, gets a 3, wide open 3. Halliburton gets a switch, goes to the cup. Everybody thinks he's gonna lay the ball up. Mitch Robinson rotates all the way over, and he kicks it out to Miles Turner, 3. And then Ben Shepherd, I think Ben Shepherd hit a big 3 before that. Like, it's by committee. And sometimes I feel like when the ball gets stuck in one hand, even if you just move it around and get it back, it allows other players to be able to get shots off. I mean, and in the past, I feel like it was the same way. I feel like in the past, in the Pistons series, Mikal Bridges hit a lot of shots in the end of the game. OG hit some. Same thing in Boston. So I don't know why in the first 2 games just feel like it's getting stuck in JB's hands so much. But I get it. He's a clutch player. He's the clutch player of the year. Who else do you want with the ball in their hands except JB? But I just think the difference is if JB isn't hitting or somebody else needs to hit a shot, they may not be in rhythm. And that's the biggest difference. And I also feel like at the end of that game, JB had a great opportunity to tie the game. They had just got the ball back. I can't even remember the full sequence. In the future, I'm going to remember the full sequence, y'all. But JB got the ball back. Now, JB's bringing the ball up the court. And they're coming across these false screens. JB pulls up at least 4 feet behind the 3-point line. Hits the back of the rim. And I think in my mind, I think he was thinking like, yo, they're going to foul me. They're going to foul me. And I'm going to go to the line and we're going to play the numbers game. But I didn't feel like, and it's easy to see it on TV, but I didn't feel like Indiana was about to like foul them. I didn't think they were. I thought that they were going to try to play it out with their defenders. Like I think most teams should. You know, game 1, I felt the Knicks got enough defenders. Yo, play that out. Just play the percentages. Get a hand up on the 3 and play the percentages. If he shoot it, he shoot it. If you make it, he make it. Don't foul and you don't end up in that situation. But I felt on game 2, JB should have waited. He could have got a better shot or see if they would have blitzed him or trapped him or whatever. But I feel like he rushed it. And that hasn't been his character the entire year. It surprised me so much. And he missed it. And then I feel like that was basically the end of that game. And the Knicks end up being down, 0-2 in the Garden. Crazy. Now you head back to Indiana and you got to figure out. And I feel like this can go one of two ways. Literally. Either the team that's down 0-2 comes out like in desperation and gets to it real quick like the Minnesota Timberwolves did to the OKC, or the home team comes out and they bury you. They put you in a pack and they bury you, and that's it. I personally think that the Knicks are going to win. I think they're going to win by 8. That's my personal opinion. Knicks by 8. And I think it goes back to the Garden 3-2. That's worst case. Worst case scenario, Indiana wins tonight, and that's it. That's it. They on their way to Cancun. But I think the biggest keys to the game, number one, I think the Knicks should try a new lineup. I think you should pull Josh Hart, go Brunson, Bridges, OG, Cat, Mitch, and see what happens. Just see what happens. I feel like if it doesn't work in the first 2-3 minutes, you make the switch. You make the switch as possible. You bring Hart back in. You put Mitch on the bench. But my thing is, like, at some point you gotta try a counter. You gotta try a countermeasure because they're gonna run. Maybe the big lineup will negate that run. Maybe to give you more rebounds. I know that Cat has been terrible in the pick and roll right now. And when we get to individual, like now that I can focus on individual games, it's gonna be easier because then we'll just break down that game. And I'm not trying to break down 3 different games. But dang, I just lost my train of thought. ADHD, bro, y'all. My thoughts be doing too much and they come back around. But that's why I got these notes, because it's gonna get me back right. I think they should try something different. Try it. Try it and see what happens. Mitch Robinson's plus minus has been great. Also, I think Josh Hart. He had a decent game 1, but I feel like in the second half and overtime, he just had lapses. Him and OG had lapses that led to some of these threes happening, these things happening. I think that he just got to be a little bit more locked in. I feel crazy saying that about NBA players because, like, yo, how you gonna say you don't even play in the NBA? But, yo, honest, he's an X factor. I feel like he's one of the engines on the team. I think OG and Mikal Bridges are, like, key pieces, but I feel like Josh Hart is the engine. He's the engine that he does every little thing. This is my favorite description of him. He's the most in the way, but right type of in the way player I've ever seen in my life. And that's exactly how I see him on the court. He's always in the way, but he's in the right kind of way. A tip in, getting the steal, getting out on the break, an assist, getting the ball ahead. I feel like in game 2 and the end of game 1, I didn't see that. And I feel like his offense and hitting shots and flows off of the dirty work, cutting for a layup, and then he hits a 3. It's not like leads with the 3 first, and then everything else kind of culminates. His thing starts on the hustle end, and they need that this game. And the thing for the Pacers, it's easy. Yo, you can't be complacent. I think they can't come out and be complacent. I think they got to come out. It's a must win for them too. Just as much as it's a must win for the Knicks, it's a must win for the Pacers. And you can't come out complacent. They got to come out with energy, pace, and they got to push it. We know that this playoffs, no lead is safe. Nan one lead is safe this playoffs. But if you can get one and hold on to it, then hold on to it. But you got to come out with energy and fire from the Pacers, and on the Knicks, you got to come out with desperation. Desperation that everybody got to be locked in. So my prediction, well, before this started, my prediction was Knicks in 6. If I had to go with what I want Timberwolves Knicks finals, and that's not like it's gonna happen. I would say Knicks in 6. I would maybe say Pacers in 6 now. I don't think that the Knicks get swept. I don't think they get gentlemen swept. I don't think so. I think they take tonight and then they just figure it out from there. So I think after this it'll be 2-1. If they get 2 in Indiana, I got Knicks in 7. If they don't take 2 in Indiana and they take 1, I think I'm going Indiana in 6. But most of all, y'all, if y'all made it through this whole video, make sure you please like, subscribe, comment. Follow me too. Follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of basketball-related things on there. Follow me on Twitter. We're getting Twitch and stuff started. But this is the first episode of a show that I have no idea. I thank y'all so much for tuning in. Yo, we'll be back after game 3. All right, then, y'all.